Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us at the seventh podcast of. It's supposed to be Terry and Elizabeth, but lately it's just been me because we're talking about a spring training. Anyways, welcome and thank you guys for coming. We got Brian Winum and then our surprise Chris Palmer. He had a little technical issues yesterday and couldn't make it yesterday, so he volunteered to come today. So super cool. First thing out of the gate: subscribe, follow, do all the things that we people ask you to do. And then hopefully Dan Kurtz will be here in a second to join us. But submit your questions. Let me know what you guys have. Let me see. Okay, never mind. I got it. So submit your questions. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. If you got questions for any one of them, we'll talk a little bit about who everybody is, how they got started, and then, of course, a little bit about what we're going to talk about at spring training. Anyways, welcome. Let's start with you, Mr. Chris Palmer. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how'd you get in this wonderful agency business or wonderful business to begin with?
How did I get into it? Well, my name is Chris Palmer. I live in Pennsylvania. How I got into this business was I was working for Integrated Marketing Solutions, which is it was a travel club. So we were doing timeshares, travel clubs, any type of resort activities. Basically, they showed me how to create, hey, here's what a landing page is. Here's how you set up a landing page. And what we were doing is they were holding, sending out mail to get people to the landing pages in order to sign up for like a session, like 30 people would show up. So that's how the seed was planted, was doing timeshares, travel clubs. They were showing me how to set up landing pages, like what is web traffic. That's how it really, really started. And then from there, I started getting on Blackout World, Warrior Forum, like just communicating, and I started getting little jobs. Then Fiverr came out. I started putting stuff up on Fiverr, Upwork, that type of stuff. That's pretty much how I got started, though, was Integrated Marketing Solutions. They planted the big seed.
I actually bought a timeshare from them way back in the day.
Blue green?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. So one of my first experiences with timeshare. So do you now, are you more, say, freelancer, or are you more agency now? Where do you which bucket do you kind of put yourself in now?
So I look at it as little teams or parts of the business. So the big part is it's agency and white label. Okay. So we're taking care of local clients, local businesses, but I also have white label where there's agencies coming for backlinks, citations, that type of stuff. So I'm doing a little bit of both while growing the educational part of my business.
Oh, cool. Right on. That's awesome. So you're kind of, I don't know, not really a floater. Do you do any kind of equity share plays or anything that's becoming popular nowadays?
Not at all. I'm primarily looking for small to medium-sized businesses that need assistance.
Okay, cool. Right on. Welcome, Mr. Butler, Clint, and Dan Kurtz. Welcome back. Well, that's awesome. So how long you been doing this? When did you start? Like, when was
I took my first dollar in 2012.
Okay.
So, but I would say I actually knew what I was doing. Probably around 14, 15. I started really actually knowing what I was doing, knowing what I was talking about. I felt a lot more comfortable. But I think like everybody, the best way to learn is to get in there and start doing it. Like I really didn't know back in 2011, 2012.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there wasn't any Facebook groups to teach us either. So
that's a big point. Yes, I learned definitely the hard way. Making every single mistake there was, losing clients, for sure. Absolutely. Making big mistakes, having to refund. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Especially when you're, kind of learning it. I kind of learned on the negative SEO side. Somebody was in penalty. So I kind of learned. That's kind of how I got my skin wet in SEO, is figuring out, okay, what the hell's a penalty? Why'd they get into a penalty? I had a couple clients before that, but it was more of, just submitting links to submitting stuff to directory sites and just all the different stuff we used to play with. So no, welcome. That's cool though. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to talk about. All right, Mr. Brian Winum.
Yes, sir.
You're up, sir. How'd you get started in this wonderful business?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Winum. I am an agency owner out on Long Island in New York. Been in the agency world since mid to mid 2000, somewhere around there, 2006, 2007. Originally got my start, way out of college. Part of my studies was back then it was called computer science.
Yeah.
Some crazy programming languages that I'll never use again, and have never looked at since. And marketing was my background. I originally went to work in the insurance industry. So I worked for Geico right out of college, and it was good for me because at that point they were kind of they weren't hiring from outside for the higher up positions. You had to work your way up to the top. So you started out at the very bottom on the phones, doing sales, doing customer service and everything else. So it got me talking to people for the first year or so. And then I was eventually promoted to underwriting, which got me into the analytics end of things. And did that for a few years, let them pay for all my licensing, and went into the insurance agency game. Ended up owning my own agency for years and years. Sold that, got rid of that. So I had a non-compete clause for several years, so I couldn't do that for a while. So I had to figure out something else to do. I had been playing around with some affiliate marketing. I remember getting paper checks in the mail for like $25, $50 when people signed up for credit cards from these stupid HTML pages I built back in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I loved it. I thought it was great. And I all along the way, even with my own agency, I'd always built my own websites, done my own marketing, and actually generated business that way. So after I was done with my agency, I went into work with some people who ran a bunch of directories around 2004, 2005, helped build that stuff up. Eventually ran into my partners. They needed some help with business development. Worked with them for several years, and to the point where they offered me a partnership, and I've been there ever since with Max Burst Web Design and Max Places Marketing out here in New York. Been doing that since almost pushing 20 years at this point, so can't complain. It's been a good ride.
That's awesome. Now, are you kind of niche down, or you kind of just stay in a little bucket area?
A little bit of everything, but for the most part, it's more national and e-com. We're Shopify partners. We get a lot of e-com stuff coming in from them. National stuff. Anything that's kind of local is more, like multi-location medical offices or things like that. Things with multi-locations. We do a little bit of, maybe some mom and pop local stuff and more as favors for, friends and long-term clients and things like that. From back in the day when we were building like 500 websites, $500 websites 20 years ago, we still have some of those clients sticking around. So we do have a little bit of that stuff, but it's really not our focus. As far as verticals, a lot of manufacturing stuff. Like I said, the e-com stuff, and more of the white collar stuff for the bigger picture local stuff. But no, we haven't really niched down and done anything like that.
Are you still excited today to get up and do this stuff as you were 20 years ago?
I don't stop. Not only do I do it, agency wise, I do it, on my own, building out affiliate sites and everything else, and always testing and playing with something. There's always something. When I read through a lot of these forums and Facebook groups and things like that, and I see people say, "Oh, you can't do this and you can't do that," and Google's going to penalize you for this. Without me going in there and testing it, I have no idea. I love doing that shit and finding out about what's going on out there, So I love waking up and playing with this stuff and going through the groups and seeing what else I can get myself in trouble with that particular day. It's always fun.
Exactly right. It's I typically will work on client stuff until maybe 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then the rest of that time is either my affiliate sites or, I've got a couple equity plays we're working on, just stuff like that, the fun stuff, and
yeah, exactly.
So I like that type of stuff. So, well, welcome. Thank you.
Sit there with a beer and watch the baseball game and still typing away doing something,
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the way me and ChatGPT came best friends is, watching golf and thinking of prompts.
Exactly.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
You got it.
Mr. Dan Kurtz, did you get your microphone fixed?
I did, but unfortunately my camera's not working, so I stuck up a profile photo, which shows you guys that I have a face for radio anyway. So,
all right. Perfect. Well, welcome, sir. So how did you get started in this? Because yours is a little bit different walk than ours was.
Mine was a screwball path. So I'm originally from Long Island, same as Brian. At the time that I was going to college, I was going and majoring in graphic design, and that was the year that India and Philippines came online for outsourcing. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting in college, and I went, shit, I've got to figure out a different path because I'm about to get outmoded. So started looking online, started looking and diving into like Frank Kern's mass control, all of that kind of stuff. And then went, okay, internet marketing looks like a cool thing. How do I make myself indispensable? How do I become a linchpin to a business? So I started diving into lead gen and SEO and all of that sort of stuff through, same as Chris, going on Blackout World and all of that, and coming up and going, oh, this is really cool. So started diving into that, cut my teeth on it with a few clients that I was just taking. I was still a kid in college, so nobody really expected anything. It's like, oh, you want me to do SEO? It's like $100 a month. And this was like, 2010, 2011 at the time. So I was like, oh yeah, no big deal. Started going through that. And then got my first official gig working at a fitness franchise based out of New York City, doing that. They had about, like 300 locations at the time, something like that. And we were just basically, we picked up Mike Koenig's Main Street Marketing Machines, which was before IFTTT existed, and SE Nuke X had just come out. And those were like the two things that was running everything. And we were building doorway pages and cloaked stuff and just basically ranking, 5-page landing page site, just real easy, and just doing it for every city within like a 5-10 mile radius of that particular franchise we were working on. And it worked out well, did all that. Got bored of doing that, went out on my own, picked up a few clients, wound up moving down to Tampa, Florida in 2013. Did a brief stint at Microsoft Bing, helping them to integrate the Google Keyword Importer into Bing's platform. Did a bunch of stuff, learned their ad system inside and out. And then after that contract was up, did a little bit of contracting work with Nielsen, got into the data side of things and learning what customer profiles were and entity matching and deterministic and probabilistic identities, different things like that. And learning that there's a whole data layer underneath all of the stuff that we were doing as SEOs. And if you do it right, you can basically put your finger on the heartbeat of what's going on in any industry using the same stuff that we do in SEO. So your keyword silos and all of that, you can use that to identify an entire market and then go and specifically advertise to that market. So after I left Nielsen, about 2018, I started finally putting together what was at the time the first or some of the first identity resolution tools internally being used for clients and things like that. Which led us to what we're doing today, which is essentially you can put a pixel on somebody's website, and with about a 65% degree of probability, I can pull their name, email address, phone number, all their B2B and B2C contact info, and give that to our clients. Obviously, the B2B stuff is primarily where we work. If it's real estate, we can load the B2C data directly to an ad platform or whatever. We've got a full API. And basically, we just do that for clients. For most of our clients, it helps drop their cost per click and cost per acquisition by about 50% because they're only advertising to the people that are specifically looking for that thing at that exact moment.
Right on.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we like to call it SEO with an insurance policy. You generate the click, and I've got a 65% shot of being able to still get you that person's email address, so you don't actually lose the lead. So whether or not they opt in, you still have the opportunity to follow up with that person. Say, hey, wait, saw you were on the website, saw you were on this specific page. Here's the lead magnet you were going to sign up for anyway. Email me if you have any questions. And that, of course, with all the AI stuff, spooks a lot of people out, but also it's really, really good at retention, because if you're in a B2B scenario, you could just possibly, have opened that ad and clicked it and forgot about it. Like, oh, cool. Here's that white paper I wanted, but I forgot what the website URL was.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really cool. When the first time you talked to me about this, actually, I think Clint and I were both together with you, was in Treasure Island.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then this year with spring training and Solterra, we've got that pixel on the website, and it is amazing the data that it pulls in. And it's super awesome. Dan's actually speaking Sunday at the Tech Day. So if you do buy the live stream, you will not see Dan and Tech Day. But his pixels is like a game changer. I've been telling people for a long time that if you just do SEO in this business right now, you're going to get hammered. You have to do things differently. You have to bring in leads from different sources different areas. You've got to be able to be just more than the SEO guy for your clients, because somebody's going to come along like Dan or somebody else and say, hey, I can just give you, all the data that people hit your website. So, they're not thinking ranking anymore. They're just wondering about the 1,000 hits they get a month. How can they get that data and remarket to some or most of those people? So, super cool. I mean, I haven't fanboyed you yet about this pixel, but I was, going to it spring training. But it's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. It is the data this pixel brings in. So I think you got a real gold mine there. And then, I think it's going to be credible. And you have all the pieces to go into once you even get the email or get the contact. And I think that's where the gold is. Just getting the data is one thing, but then what the hell do you do with the data?
Yeah. And I'll be presenting a lot of that, basically an entire piece about automation, because as you know, doing SEO stuff is we're all doing different tests. We all have affiliate sites. We're all doing all these things, but we don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to go ahead and properly market some of these sites. Like, we did link building and stuff, but like, what do you do when it comes to social, video production, all these different things? So what I'll be presenting about in the Tech Mastermind is specifically how to use all the AI tools that all of us SEOs already know and love, and how to chain them together using a low-cost program called make.com, in order to daisy chain them together to actually work as your marketing team without you having to sit there.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So, super awesome. Well, welcome and thank you, Dan, for taking the time to be with us. So, Mr. Butler, I'm sure everybody knows you, but tell us about you and all that good stuff about Clint's a host this year with Elizabeth and I. He was instrumental in helping us sort through all the speaker requests that we get. Last year was real overwhelming because I did it by myself. This year, with Clint's help, we got through, and we're still making schedule changes, which will probably happen, all the way up until a few days before. But welcome, Clint. Tell us a little bit about you.
You make changes all the time. No one even knows until you're like, oh, these changes are made.
Yeah, that's why I got to stop looking at that schedule during, when I'm sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yep. Clint Butler, obviously, started SEO in 2009. Like a lot of everyone else's journey, it just started for different reasons, right? So at that time, network marketing was a thing and lead gen was a thing. And the methods that people were using is, TV ads, etc. And then you pay for the leads and then you cold call them. Well, I hated cold calling, and paying for the leads sucked. So I heard about SEO and digital marketing in general. Started things with, I don't know how many of you guys know about safe lists and traffic exchanges. Started doing those for lead gen. Then learned SEO. Learned that in black hat forums, like black hat forums, not just by name, but legit black hat forums. Did a lot of adult stuff. Learned in that market. Learned the importance and value of testing, and getting out of the idea of, white hat versus black hat. At the end of the day, it's, do you want to make money or not? And, how far you push it is where your ethics line is, right? So my line back then was pretty far away, so I didn't have to worry about crossing it all that much. Now today I co-own a digital course membership site that's SEO Intel. I run my own agency. I do a lot of consulting work for large websites and agencies now, and I'm this year building out my own agency, give us something to be able to pass off to my son when I'm done and ready, and also getting back into affiliate, which I used to do a lot of. My primary income was affiliate, and then I deployed to Afghanistan. And when you're working off an internet that's slower than dial-up, your affiliate income goes away pretty quick. So getting back to it, yeah.
And so, you started this kind of like as a side gig while you were in the Army?
Yeah. I mean, before I retired, I started my agency. Then it was called Olympia SEO. And then when I retired, I didn't have enough to just run the agency and be able to move out of it, and not work, as it were. So I went back to Afghanistan for 2 years and worked as a contractor.
Okay.
And that was okay until the rockets started falling almost every day. And then I was like, nah, then it's time to go home.
Mm-hmm. Time to head back to Washington.
Yeah. But by that time, I had secured a deal with Guy Charette over the top SEO. And I was making $40,000 a month with him. We ranked that website in over 1,500 cities, #1 for city SEO. That's when I learned that those rankings are bullshit. That they all look cool, but they don't generate you any leads of any significant value. So,
yeah.
And then after he decided he wanted to be a singer, I was truly on my own, which gives you the value of multiple streams of income. Because when you're making $40,000 one day and then you wake up the next day and you're not, you need to have something on the backside to save you. So that's why I always have my hands in a lot of things, because if one thing goes, then it goes, whatever. I was working with franchises making close to $10,000 a month. They moved on, wanted to do different they wanted to go with Scorpion for whatever fucking reason. So they shut down their own marketing agency and went with Scorpion, and 10,000 gone. Didn't bother me one bit. Didn't even miss a beat because I already had multiple streams of income. So yeah, 10,000 it's a lot. It's a lot of money for a lot of people. But if you have other stuff coming in at the same time, it doesn't hurt as much as it could. So
yeah, for sure. I learned that when COVID hit. We lost 41 medical spas in about 6 weeks. Big time freaking hit. It's like, okay, yeah, we need to kind of branch out here, have different streams. So,
yeah.
Well, awesome. Welcome. I'm glad you could join us today. So I know you're busy. So, Mr. Palmer, what are you thinking you're going to talk about at spring training this year?
Well, you mentioned during our conversation that you were more interested in AI. Or do I still have the ability to?
So yeah, you have the ability. I'm just the AI thing is, with the AI area is like there's people that do. I just asked that question because a lot of people do AI, but they don't really talk or teach AI. So
yep.
But no, you're not tied into AI whatsoever. So you got a very expansive brain that we can tap into.
Yeah, we got our heads cracked dealing with some AI. So yeah, I steer clear of that as much as possible. However, primarily what I'm looking to share is some of the test and results that we've been deploying. So I primarily focus on stuff that's going to affect my business. So we're looking at maps, building backlinks to specific links and maps, looking at even your strategies, building out bulk press releases and pointing them to places. Do I get a result? Cause and effect is what I want to share. So I'm going to pick out, I learned from the last session, I had 100 that, hey, maybe that's not the way to go. So I was going to pick out 10 of my best and give explain it a lot more. And that's going to be what I'm going to talk about, tests that we ran, and then be able to describe, hey, here's the cause, here's the effect, here's the result, and here's why this is important. And then I was going to do 10 of those like that. That was going to be the structure. You like that?
Yeah, heck yeah. That's awesome. And the nice thing is that, you're going to be in one of the mastermind breakout rooms. So it's a more intimate setting so you can talk better and get questions answered. And, I call, like I'm doing one of the on-page rooms, and I like a whiteboard. I'd rather have a whiteboard than a projector any day, just to talk and explain and have that question and answer, more intimate relationship type of thing. So, and you can even talk about two separate things. If you want to talk about one day, one the other day, and kind of tie them both in, however you want to do it, it's completely up to you. But it is one of the things that we're excited about to see because what the stuff you presented in Vegas was just like, wow, I had no freaking idea, so that's awesome that you're going to bring some of that to us. I really appreciate that. That's really
awesome.
Cool. So
good to hear.
So what do you think, Clint? You think that's going to be a good tie-in? You saw his stuff in Vegas too, and we both talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think his presentation drives home what Ted, Kyle, Roof, and myself have been saying forever is test. Trust everybody, but test. And if you're not testing, you don't know what's working. So if you're throwing plate of food at the wall and only X, Y, and Z stick. Well, the rest of that shit's on the floor and you just wasted your time doing it. And that's what having exposure to testing groups is good. So
Exactly. And that's I started this thing testing because I didn't know any different. You know, I didn't know what to do. I mean, back then the access to those HTML sites back then, you know, I just had my own little site that I built, and it was, you know, something I said, oh, I'll test with this one, you know, and yeah, I lost that site pretty quick.
And that's something that you would know a lot better than myself. The audience itself, because we're, you know, we try to produce 1 to 3 on a biweekly basis, right? Which can be very difficult. So in order to be able to impact your audience the best, which angle would you go? Like YouTube tests, because I do a lot of that, maps, off page. What do you think would be the most impactful?
I think maps definitely one. And then, you know, I mean, the off page, you know, I mean, I don't know how many, I'm just like, for me, I just started in YouTube. So, I'm still getting my feet wet, but, I don't know, maybe Clint, what do you think? Depending on, you know, the audience is a lot of local, a lot of agencies. Yeah.
I just have, you know,
I mean, selfishly, I'm leaning towards the maps because that's the stuff that I'm learning right now. You guys know I don't know shit about maps, and I'm trying to learn that. And right now, my main exposure is with all these CTR guys, which is something that I don't want to do because I'm not buying 50 damn servers and 50 copies of licenses and running that stuff perpetually. I want to learn stuff that I can, you know, like link building, like Brock's doing now, etc. That kind of stuff, and those test results, and how I can put that together. That would be of interest to me selfishly.
Yeah, and that's
good. I mean, Brock and Mike sold SEO at the beach based off of map stuff. So I don't think you can go wrong with maps results.
Maps.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
And then I have we just recently stumbled into something, 2 variations of it, on how to set up. I might even give up, maybe in that private group, I could share. We figured out how to drop service businesses and get them verified. So I could probably, in that breakout, I could probably do that there. Teach them how to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I think maps is one of the things that, you know, me personally, I know maps, I can do maps, but I also hate maps, you know, just because of the finicky of them. And, you know, and so, you know, some of the tools out there have made it more pleasurable for, well, not just me, but Brandon, my son, who runs all our maps. But yeah, I think maps would be awesome because, again, I'm going to talk about maps on the on-page side and the schema side, connecting them, but yeah, link building to maps, all that kind of stuff is just awesome.
So a lot of maps and local is the angle.
Exactly. Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Because we have so many, and it's like, well, what would be the best? So fair enough.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate that. That's going to be really cool. So, all right, Mr. Brian, what are you thinking about, you know, blowing us away with at your presentation?
I think I'm going to go way back, starting to when I first met you back in like 2019, and take it from there. Kind of how I built upon that. I know you and I first met at Stephen Kang's event.
Yeah.
31 Flavors.
31 Flavors.
And my original talk was about Google News approval, getting all those sites approved, and you know, maybe 1 or 2 of the content strategies I had used to kind of really you know, kick them off at that point. So I've obviously gone the same route, and I just do that over and over again. I have, you know, a ton more different strategies that I've laid on top of it. So basically my entire thing, and that I actually teach a course about this now, is all my strategies. It's kind of a not necessarily a blueprint, but I consider it it's kind of a series of stackable strategies and techniques I use that I can change depending on what the circumstances are, depending on what type of site I'm trying to rank. There's some things in common across all the websites I build, but other things I just pick and choose from these different strategies that all work together holistically to help me rank. And whether I'm working on my own agency website, whether I'm working on client websites, whether I'm working on, you know, a small niche site, whether I'm working on a huge authority site, I build out branded news networks of 50, hundreds of different sites that are kind of all linked together. So no matter what it is, I kind of have these techniques and strategies that I kind of stack together and kind of use them as well, depending on, kind of what I need. So I'm going to go over that, kind of my theories behind everything, why I do it, even though Clint's going to tell me bullshit again, like he did down in Miami. But hey, it works for me. And go through that. I'll actually share some of the websites that I actually build out. I literally have hundreds of sites that I have used for testing at this point.
Right on.
That's all they're for. That I just build them out. Like I'll build out a branded news network of 50 sites that I use strictly for testing and demo purposes, or niche sites that I use for all different purposes. So I'm going to go through how I build them, why I build them the way I do. I'm sure Holly knows about this. There was a Google News big wipeout maybe about this time last year, probably.
Yeah, it happened. It happened at spring training. That's when Holly comes up to me and goes, "Are you going to use the news network anymore?" It actually was at Holly's here. Everybody, say hi, Holly. But it was actually at the VIP. Sorry, my dog's over here hacking. But it was actually at the VIP event last year at spring training.
Yeah. So I've never lost a single Google News site ever, and I have hundreds, if not thousands, at this point. So.
Do you think are they easier to get approved now than they used to be, and vice versa, or in also with that, is it easier to keep them as news networks before you do something wrong to get dinged?
For me, it is. Yeah, I think it's much easier. I mean, back when I first started doing this, there was literally I don't think there was a single YouTube video out there that told you how to get approved for Google News when I first started doing it. I think there was one with some guy with an accent I could not understand. That was like the only video that explained how to do it. So I kind of ended up buying news sites back then, reverse engineering what was working, testing until I got it right. The things then I don't have to go near as deep into the weeds as I was doing back then to get them approved. It basically comes down to me making them look like real news sites. And a lot of the things I do, I'll explain, at the conference. I'll give you a checklist of the things I make sure that I do properly. Awesome. I've got it down to literally a copy and paste scenario at this point where I can build out a network. Like I said, 50 sites. Like I'll build out a branded news network with a site for every single state. And it's literally copy and paste, same exact content, same everything. It's duplicate content and they're all getting approved. And they never get taken down. So I'll go through that process and I'll go through what I call catalyst content, which is kind of the core of the things I teach. And these are specific types of content I use that really kind of help get the ball rolling on these new websites. They're basically structured to bring in branded traffic right out of the gate. They're going to bring in free backlinks. They're going to bring in expert authority contributions. They're going to bring in free press releases, tons of traffic. I mean, you name it, right out of the gate. I use a couple different platforms that I'll explain to help me generate this stuff. And a lot of it's AI driven at this point. So I'll go through that, how I kind of leverage AI to help me push out this content at scale. Awesome. And it's working really well. And the great thing about this content is it doesn't just work for these news sites. It doesn't just work for my affiliate sites. I'm using it for my client sites. I'm using it for my own sites. I'm leveraging this content to literally generate leads and stuff at this point. So I can make affiliate sales with it. I can generate leads with it. I can drive traffic with it. So I'll go through all that stuff and give people the keys to the kingdom if they pay attention.
Awesome.
I think the caveat there is if they pay attention, because I listened to SEO at the beach, and I was talking to people, and we did the notes roll up, and very few people had questions for you, which surprised me because you were one of the 3 speakers that I actually walked away from that conference with shit I didn't know and stuff that I was excited to go implement right away. So yeah, to me, hands down. I mean, we could just have Brian Winum Day, and I think it would be awesome. Personally,
I agree.
Well, we can also, Brian can also be part of the Tech Mastermind Sunday too. So, that's another thing. So, but no, that's going to be really cool because, like I said, it's, even back to 31 Flavors in Vegas, it was your presentation was the one that got me the most too, because I went out and I actually think I don't know if I if I bought a couple of your news sites. I can't remember, but this first 5 news sites that I bought from other people, those are the only 5 that I have left. They're still there. They still go on. They still pump out stuff. And I was going to get into them really heavy, but then I needed more way to automate them. It was, back when I was going to do them, is literally building a WordPress site, and you're still looking at a Saturday maybe to get one built. Yeah. Compared to building 10, 20 of them.
No more. Now it's copy and paste. I got it down pat.
That's awesome. That's freaking so cool. Good deal. So, well, welcome. That's going to be really awesome. So, Holly, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. So, since you're here, now you get put in the spotlight. How'd you get involved in this business years and years and years ago before YouTube? Actually, Holly built YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was not always the brightest person, and I met my wife, and I realized that I had to go to 3 schools to drop off our kids, and I needed to come up with a better income than what I was making. And I just watched. Honestly, I fell into it by just watching my kids and what they were doing. And at the time they were playing like Club Penguin on YouTube, and Club Penguin, it must have had an affiliate or something, because that was the original stuff that I was pushing, was Club Penguin and Doctor Notes as an affiliate. And I just started creating videos and asking the kids why they were watching this one and how did you make this? And they sort of helped me upload and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of got into being the YouTube queen, I guess. And then, of course, our meatloaf video that Clint loves to watch, that made Dawn famous, was on YouTube, and everyone knows us from the Super Meatloaf video. But yeah, yeah, it was completely by accident. It was not on purpose, though.
That's great. So, and you still play pretty heavily in YouTube nowadays, or I know you're going to do a lot of stuff with social media, I know, but is YouTube?
Yeah, I'm very heavy. So I did leave YouTube. I didn't want to say leave, but I just sort of wasn't stinking around with YouTube so much after we figured out, I like competition and I like being challenged. And once you understand how YouTube works, which is engagements and CTR, I didn't feel like there was much more to be messing around with. And now that AI has come out, then I am like 100% back into doing videos and social media. So YouTube is one of them that we're targeting. TikTok is a big one we're targeting, and Instagram, Twitter, that type of stuff. So anything that is on social media that can be posted with a YouTube or with a video, I should say, is what we're targeting.
Right
it's
on.
The same concept, right? It's about engagements.
That's cool. Yeah, it's I don't know, every time I see you speak and you do something new with AI, or you're doing something new with social media along with AI, it's just like, all right, cool, what's next? And it gets to be the point of, what else can Holly think of that she's gonna really figure out, because you don't ever go anything half-assed. That's one thing I'll say about you. All the years I've known you, there's no half-ass Holly. If she goes into it, it's gonna be full bore. She's going to figure it out. She's going to dominate it. And then she's going to get bored and go on to something else, which is awesome.
100%. Yes. I love doing like Brian, I learned so much from him at 31 Flavors. He was the one that got me onto doing the News Network. And I think we did the News Network for 3 or 4 years or something like that. And after like the first year, I did get bored with it, but we kept up with it. So, if it's not competitive to me or I'm not learning something, it's hard for me to stay in that space. So we're doing social media, but we're doing it on a totally different scale than anyone else is doing it. Plus we're adding in KDP and building books and doing AI influencers and like feet pictures for like OnlyFans. And we're just like, we're hitting everything to see what's going to stick.
Yeah.
And once we know, then we'll, cut out the waste and just target that stuff.
For sure. That's cool. All right. Well, welcome. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So, Mr. Dan, what are you going to talk about a little bit? I mean, you gave us a little bit about what you're talking about, but
Sure.
you know, the whole idea of the pixel is one thing and collecting the data is one thing, but again, unless you have a fairly automated, if not fully automated way to now remarket or retarget those leads, then it's pretty much a moot point. I mean, I started this thing buying lists. I remember my first list was, I think it was like 1,000 roofing companies. I think I spent like $400 for it. And I took this email marketing class and, you know, and went through all this stuff and spent all this time. I think we spent like 2.5 weeks on it and didn't get one freaking lead.
Yeah.
And so that was why I used to tell people email marketing doesn't work. But now I'm at the different camp where it does work, but it has to be a strategic type of thing. It can't just be a haphazard, you know, throw out 1,000 emails that say the exact same thing without doing some testing and A/B testing and subject line and all that crap we have to do. But anyways, tell us a little bit about, once you get the data, what kind of happens to that data.
So, well, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the data, but the main portion of what I'm going to focus on is how to automate a lot of the stuff that's out there now. So like, for example, using an RSS reader and being able to add 2 or 3 stories to a specific folder, and then having an automation that will pick those up, analyze the body of the text with ChatGPT, write it up as a news story, take that, automatically transcribe it, save it as a Google Doc, take that, import it, drop it in 11 Labs to get a voiceover, and then dump that to SoundCloud with all of your backlinks in it, which then turns into a podcast syndication every day at 4 a.m. So like literally all you have to do is hit favorite on 3 articles, and you've got a 3 to 5 minute podcast episode that's going up without you having to actually talk about it. So now you're getting drip fed backlinks directly to whatever the target page is that you want to have those point to, using Make and the automations in there. Doing things like kind of what Holly's talking about. So making a faceless YouTube channel, doing things like that, having that go out on autopilot. And then if you want to have a YouTube channel with your face on it, but you don't want to spend time on it, working on an automation right now that will take HeyGen, which is a video avatar AI program, and we'll use that to go ahead and generate you a YouTube video talking about a specific topic. And the whole thing is done through basically making a topic rotator, using ChatGPT and Claude, and making it so that you're always getting unique, verbose, informational articles that go out. And basically every day, let's say every 2 hours, that video is going out and being posted to YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram automatically without you having to log in.
Right on. That's pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah. So like think of that and loading that as like a brand avatar, let's say for one of your affiliate sites. And now you've got this persona. Maybe you hired somebody on Fiverr and, hey, you know, you let them know I'm going to use your likeness. Is that okay? Go back and forth a little bit, get them to send you a sample video. And now you have the face of whatever that affiliate brand is, and it's not you.
Yeah. That's
so kind of taking a lot of those things and putting them all together as like a bundle thing, kind of walking through, here's the type of stuff you can automate. Here's all the different marketing arms that you can essentially eliminate from having to do every day, as long as you set a timer in the system and just having it all flesh out. Like I've got probably about 75, 80 templates. I'll probably be sharing a couple of them if you guys actually show up to the Tech Mastermind. So like if you're in the room, I'll probably give a couple away to automate a couple things, and just like, here's a zip file full of stuff. Here's the instructions on how to set it up. Hit me up if you have any questions. You know, we have so many of these tools, so many AIs and automations and all these different things, but nobody's daisy chaining them together. Like you could essentially eliminate your workflow and output if, you know, for all the other stuff we're not doing. Like you can't automate SEO. You know, millions of us have tried, and that doesn't work. And we've seen that with the last update. But doing things like consistent posting on YouTube, consistent posting on Pinterest, all the social stuff that most SEO folks don't want to do. Who's got time to sit down and record and proof and edit a podcast every day? If I can hit 3 buttons and say add to favorites, and now the next morning I got a podcast that goes out about 3 relevant articles that I just skimmed, I'm cool with that.
I agree 100%. So you and Holly are going to have some good conversations around the fire.
Oh yeah.
No, that's really cool. It's like I said before, it's probably one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. I kicked myself in the butt for not, even going back to Treasure Island when we had our mastermind, even not putting it in. And I know it wasn't fine tuned. I knew the data collection was, but I don't think you had the make piece back then connected.
Yeah, the API was still in development, but we've got that ironed out now. It shows up basically if you have any ad network or any CRM, I can have it dynamically load from our server directly into any of your marketing pieces, your advertising platforms, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, if we were to take your particular scenario, Terry, we've got the pixel installed on a couple different sites. And as they come in from whether it's the schema site, Spring Training, or Solterra, they get pushed to the appropriate Go High Level sub account that you've got hooked up, and then fires off an automation to start cold outreach to those people.
Exactly.
So we've got that. If we wanted to take it a step further, I can also have it where it's also, after doing that high level step, pushing that data into Google Ads custom audience, Facebook Ads custom audience, Twitter Ads custom audience, and a TikTok Ads custom audience. And as long as you have the videos already preloaded, every day that I get new people on that list, which is, I think we're up to 3,600 right now.
Yeah. 30, and we've only been doing it about 5 months, I think. 4 months.
2 months.
No, 2 months. Yeah, I knew it had been very good. Yeah, so 3,500 contacts in 2 months that hit.
And the reason that it was as successful as it is because we turned on Google Ads. Because like we were talking about before, I've got a 65% resolution rate. Most of the other guys in the industry have about 10 or 20. But if you're going to spend 30 cents a click, if you put the pixel on your site, every time you spend 30 cents, you have a 65% chance of getting that lead. How many times are you willing to spend 35 cents to build your email list? Like it's a no-brainer. Like even if you were doing like solo ads going way back, 20, 30 cents a click, you're essentially paying solo ad prices in order to build your email list.
Yeah. No, it's really friggin' cool. And it's something that I think that, especially for agencies that are trying to get leads in, affiliate sites that sell product. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that, we're going to, after the conference is over, Solterra, we're going to take it to even deeper levels, especially in our affiliate sites. So, but no, I'm so excited to see this stuff, Dan. This thing is incredible. You got any comments on that, Clint?
No, every time he talks, he just marvels me, and I'm like, "Oh, I can use this and I can use that," and then I'm like, "Well, I got to get focused and figure it out first before I go mess around with Dad and get lost in super nerd land."
I was going to say, Clint, you ever do anything with that 150-page book that I had AI write for you?
I know. I got that stupid thing. I got my funnels. I got Press Advantage. I'm paying like $1,000 for it. I haven't even sent a press release yet. I'm like, God, all this shit I got to do. And then there's Dan. Look at I got. It's real cool.
Exactly. Yeah. It's well, that's why I never pulled the trigger with Dan stuff before, because it was one of those things. Is like, okay, add this. I got to do this, and I just stopped adding more tasks and more stuff, and finally I just paid Dan to do it for me. I could just do it. So, but no, that's super cool. It's going to be one of the coolest things to see. So.
I know, Dan. Elizabeth is giving you. We scraped those contacts lists. The list I'm talking about. How are those? How are those performing? If you know offhand,
I will take a look and let you know in 2 seconds.
Yeah, we got another list too that we had somebody give us. All the agencies from California, Arizona, Colorado.
Yeah,
like 1,900 agencies.
I'm the one who gave you this.
No, this is a second list. No.
Yeah, of course, high level doesn't want to load.
I learned that stupid thing too. I'm like, geez.
It's basically just a really fancy active campaign, but dumbed down.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at what the marketing automation's doing. Clint's list. Doing pretty good. It looks like it ran through the entirety of the list. Let's see what the open rates are. Off the top. Outreach. Not sure why it's not showing up. Yeah, for some reason your campaign, I can't see the stats, but I'll go there and fiddle with it after we hop off here. That's easy.
Great.
Yeah, and I think everything's still being sent out too. I don't know how many emails you guys set up. I thought it was 10 or something. Can't remember now.
We got about 4 or 5 in there, I think.
Oh, okay. So, but no, it's just another way to market. It's another way to get yourself out there automated. You know, and then you can tweak the open rate. You can tweak the, you know, the subject lines. ChatGPT is really, really good at giving you subject line ideas, you know, opening paragraph ideas, those type of things. Especially if you've trained ChatGPT for that brand or that product that's or service that you're getting ready to email about. But yeah, so it's just like I said, it's bringing a different aspect of what we do for ourselves and clients. And I'm all about automation this year. Our goal at Solterra is to be at least 90% automated by the end of this year. So anything that we can do for lead generation, retargeting, following up, all that stuff, whether it's through our proposal system or whatever, that's all our focus at, you know, at Solterra right now. Because I think it's more important, right? I think, yeah, I rank for SEO terms all day long, but you know, if I do get a lead from an SEO term, it's usually somebody that has a GoDaddy account with $250 budget. So there's not much I can do there. But you know, so it's just, again, when you come to these kind of conferences and you start looking at, you know, who's presenting what, depending on where you're at in your space as far as growth or whatever word you want to use. The way this conference is set up this time with the stage in the morning and the mastermind breakouts in the afternoon, you can really pick and choose where you want to go and who you want to see and what do you want to learn. You might pick something up in one group that triggers something else you want to go see the next day. You know, the speakers are going to be all involved. Even the ones on stage are going to be involved in the, you know, they'll be around to talk to and ask questions to and network with. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why we like doing spring training is because we spend a lot of time to not only pick the place that would be great for the conference itself, but a great place for networking, a great place for, you know, hanging out, you know, getting some food together, you know, whatever. I think a lot of us that go to conferences, that's kind of really the main reason we go for. Yeah, there'll be a couple people. You know, in Boston, I met DC again, saw DC speak, great guy, you know, and great to hang out with. So went out there and to hang out with DC. That was like one of my goals, and it had happened. So when you come to these type of conferences, you know, pick and choose what you want to do, who you want to talk to. We're all kind of introverts. I know, especially Clint and I, we talk about this all the time. You know, I'm not the kind of guy that you throw in a party and I'm going to hand out 250 business cards. But if you come up to me at a party, I'll talk to you for 5 or 6 hours. So, you know, but I'm not going to come up to you and say, hey, you know. But anyways, this type of conference is a little bit different just because we have the friendly atmosphere, the networking atmosphere. We really want people to come and not just learn topics, but build relationships. You know, I'm very open when I tell people, I can't teach you link building. I'm not a link building guy. I do some stuff for link building, mostly stuff that we've tested through press releases or mostly stuff that I got from people I trust like Clint. So I would never try to teach that just because I don't know it enough to be able to educate people. But I do know people that I've met through this network that do. You know, same with people talking to me about on-page. You know, I get link builders that'll ask me questions about on-page because they're not in that realm of their SEO world. So, but anyways, we still have live stream tickets. The live stream tickets are going to go away soon because I'm not going to upgrade the package. So once I hit the package that we got, then it's over. So if you can't make the live event in a couple weeks, I think it's 2.5 weeks away, then get on the live stream. You're still going to be able to see people. If you're on the live stream in the breakout mastermind rooms, we're going to try to let you ask questions, but we're going to see how that works. You won't be able to ask questions to people on the main stage, but you will be able to see everything. If you can't make a live event one day or whatever, they're still recorded. So you buy the live event and you can get the recording. But here's the disclaimer. This is at speaker's discretion. If the presenter does not want to be live streamed, or they show parts that don't want live stream, we will shut it off. So the only reason we're doing the live stream is because we had a lot of requests for it, mainly because of our big digital conference we did in 2020. So, but it is a way to see everybody. It is a way to, learn from people. But we do encourage people to come for the live event. Obviously, anybody got any last minute things they want to say about the event, about topics, about whatever?
I am an open book if you buy me drinks at the live event. So that's just put it out there, Feel free to liquor me up.
Yeah. I'm already known for that. Matter of fact, when I come back to the hotel room, usually after drinking with friends, Elizabeth's like, "What'd you give away this time?" So,
Chris, you mentioned earlier, since you said topics, you mentioned earlier that you had AI sites get hit. Can you give a brief understanding or explain?
AI content that we were utilizing was a lot of it was Ada and Babbage, so that got smoked. Then we started deploying some of the 3.5 Da Vinci stuff, and that got cracked. When we started utilizing Palm 2 or Palm, and now recently we're messing around with Gemini, the Google stuff is working a lot better with, of course, editing. But I think I know that long gone are the days like creating a good piece of content, optimizing, and then spinning out to multiple locations. Like that's, all of those assets that we had a significant loss on.
Just spinning out to multiple locations. So you're writing the article and then spinning it and then pushing it across.
Well, one of the pieces was the content, figuring that out with the AI, different AIs. Yeah. But spinning to me is geomodifying. So geomodifying the content, changing 200 words, 300 words at the top. Yeah, like that's ineffective at this point for us on new sites. Old sites, it's still effective on, but new sites, we're having some struggle. Well, not now. We've remedied it, but that's painful.
Interesting. So you don't know though, is the AI site or is it the location page? Or I think is your template suck?
Right. I think it's a combination of both. It's the utilization of the content, because we were also creating informational based content to support commercial intent pages.
Yeah.
And we were struggling big time, even with informational. And we were adding statistics, even little infographics.
Yeah.
That was a struggle. So
we did at scale.
At big scale. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So everyone that I've heard say, "Hey, we had trouble," it was AI sites. They're like, "Well, how big is your site?" And they come with this astronomical retarded number. And you're like, "Well, no shit. I mean, you might as well have just shoved the flag up your ass and walked up into the Google campus naked."
I agree. I can't disagree with that. So, yeah, I still see success with large sites, but it seems like if, let's say we launch out 38,000 pages and we all 50 states, and then we hit every city in every state, it feels as though that Google generally will reward you in certain parts of the country.
Yeah.
So once we do our initial launch and we figure out where we're being rewarded, that's where we double down at and get rid of the rest.
No, that's good. Yeah. Craig Campbell, he was talking and he said he was doing that with affiliate stuff. You like put up 400 pages or whatever number and then find the stuff that was working, go delete the rest, and then work on the stuff that was working off the way. So that makes more sense than, I built a site with 300,000 pages and Google doesn't index them. Well, no shit.
Yeah, no crap. Yeah. And then we learn lessons with the indexing, with indexing, de-indexing, stuff like that.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Of course.
That's awesome. Any other last minute words, everybody?
No.
Aside from
Well, I'm still looking forward to seeing you guys here in a couple weeks. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to do a few more of these over the next week and a half or so. I think our next one's Thursday morning. If you guys are available, pop on that one. I think Thursday we have Simon Cornelius, Matt Zimmerman, and Honey Witcher. So another killer group of people. So, I can't say the K word. Sorry. I actually got a 30-day ban from Facebook for using whatever. Anyway, so thank you guys and girls. I appreciate it. You guys out there, if you reach out, if you need help with tickets, if you have an agency and you want to send employees, reach out to Elizabeth. She's got special deals for those. If you are going to do it, let's do it. Let's get some stuff set up. Let's get you here. We can help you find, Airbnbs are all over the friggin' place. It's probably one of the biggest things wrong with Scottsdale. I think 30% of the houses in Scottsdale are Airbnbs now. But anyways, reach out if you have any issues or challenges and you need some help. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will talk to everybody later.